Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of the One of One Card Show. My name is Luke, and I am your host. And in this week's episode, we are going to be looking at the 2022 Panini Prizm WWE. We'll be revisiting specifically the women's rookie class. So let's get started. For those of you who are unaware, the 2022 Panini Prizm WWE set is considered to be probably one of the most significant card releases in recent memory for WWE cards. It was Panini's first product release of their 3-year license while holding the WWE card license. And it proved to be just a major shift in the pro wrestling card hobby. Before that, Topps had the license for many years. They had some success with it, but it was rather inconsistent. And the 2022 Prism set ushered in, we would say, maybe a 3-year renaissance of WWE cards that will hopefully continue on with Topps picking the license back up again. Hobby boxes still sell for close to $300, despite the fact that many of the high-end cards have obviously been pulled already. So this is going to be a set that for years to come, people are going to be going after quite a bit. Uh, Now, for today's video, as we pointed out, our focus is going to be specifically on the rookie women. We're going to be looking at where are the women now? If they're still with WWE, where will they end up on my wrestler status scale, which we'll go over in just a few moments? And for the most part, how much have their gold out of 10 and Black Prizm one of ones, if they have been pulled and have been put up on eBay, how much have they been going for? Along with a few others if necessary. We might talk about a few other examples. So let's just go over the wrestler status scale first. I have it on a scale of 1 to 4. We have 1 being a jobber. That's a wrestler who barely ever wins, mostly used to make the other wrestlers look strong, and they rarely ever get mic time. 2, that's a mid-carder. They're usually going to be featured on TV and the occasional premium live events. They occasionally win matches, and they may challenge for a secondary or tag title. Upper mid carder, regularly in competitive matches. They often challenge for titles, and they sometimes even will win the title. And lastly, main eventer or the face of the division. They're consistently in the top storylines. They are holding or chasing the main women's championships, and they are premium live event, PLE main event caliber. So before we begin, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe to the One of One Cards YouTube and Instagram channels. So you're on it right now on YouTube, but you could also head over to Instagram and you can see my content on Instagram. So let's begin. We're going to look at the group of women's rookie wrestlers from the 2022 Prism that have been released over the course of the last few years. So we're going to be starting off with Blair Davenport. Blair Davenport was released in February of 2025, and you can see that she had a card in Prism 2022. Lucky envelopes out of 8 sold for $77, almost $78 back in August of 2024, while her gold most recently sold for $99, $99.99 in March of 2024. So again, we see that even if you're not necessarily the biggest wrestler going, you're going to have an out of 10 and out of 8 selling for good amounts of money. So let's now move on to the Gold Shimmer of Blair Davenport. Sold for $150. It's out of 3 in February of 2023. Now, we have Ginny. Ginny is someone who retired in January of 2023. She had 4 sales of gold out of 10 between $62 and $100 over the course of her time in 2023 and 2024. Um, we see now Amelie. Amelie was released in August of 2022. You can see a gold shimmer for her selling for $150 in July of 2023. I find that to be pretty interesting. It was already gone from WWE, but still had a gold shimmer out of 3 selling for $150. In addition to that, she has had 5 sales of gold prisms out of 10. Um, in between $35 and $76, and the highest sale was in December of 2022 for the $76 amount. Now we have Danny Luna, uh, released in August of 2022. You can see Danny Luna Black Prizm 1 of 1 selling for $175. And gold out of 10, four sales between $50 and $100, with the highest sale being in August of 2023. Electra Lopez has probably one of the more fascinating cards, especially of those who had been released, where her card in February of 2025, I mean, she was released in February 2025, but she's had her Black Prizm 1 of 1 sell several different occasions within the last year, going for $300 in October 2024, jumped to 600 in November 2024, and then most recently going for $405 in June of 2025. So just to go within the last couple weeks, her card selling for $405. Again, now, gold out of 10, obviously a little bit more attainable than the Black Prizm 1 of 1. Her card's going for 65 and between 65 and $200. You could see starting in 65 in July of 2022 raw, but then if we go all the way to April 2024, her SGC 9.5 going for $200. Now we have Valentina Feroz. Valentina, her being released in May of 2024. She's had six sales in gold out of 10, going for between $54 and $120. As we can see, started at about $54 in November 2022, in 66 in September 22, but going all the way up to $120 back in April of 2023. Most recently, as you can see, April 2025, going for $100. So again, gold cards still maintaining their value, especially for somebody who is released from WWE. Amelia McKenzie had a rookie card in Prizm. She was released shortly after the Prizm card had come out in August of 2022. And you can see the one gold sale going for almost $54 back in October of 2022. And lastly, we have Persia Parada. Actually, not lastly, Persia Parada, also known to many of us as Steph DeLander, going for having five sales between 56 and $100. She was released in April of 2022, just shortly before the Prism set had come out. You can see her cards have mostly maintained value. Hasn't been a card popping up on eBay in a gold out of 10 since July of 2023. But again, I would assume that her cards might even go for a little bit more, especially since she has the Matt Cardona connection and is consistently on Impact Wrestling TV or TNA TV. Um, so you could see her cards probably going to be going up, I would say. And lastly, probably one of the bigger surprises of WWE releases from the 2022 women's rookie set for Prism, and that would be Cora Jade. Cora Jade was somebody whose cards were going for big dollars, even even still to this moment. Her Black Prism 1 of 1 sold for $2,500 in April of 2023. So people clearly assumed that she was going to be a main eventer. She was definitely somebody who people thought, had a lot of potential long term for WWE. But again, as we know, sometimes you might be extremely, extremely talented. You might be somebody who has a lot of potential, but WWE just doesn't see it at that moment or doesn't see eye to eye with you, and they get rid of you. It's not necessarily the fault of the wrestler themselves. Sometimes WWE just goes into a different direction. But Cora Jade, um, you could see had three sales of the gold out of 10 prisms between 649 and $1,000, with the highest going for $1,000 in August of 2022. You can see though that they did slowly drop. Most recently in March of 2023, a PSA 9 sold for $649. So you can see a little bit of a decline from that August 22 sale of $1,000. So now that we've gone over those who had been, released from WWE, let's take a look at those women wrestlers who are now still with WWE. Let's go through and see how they're doing. So we have Stevie Turner to get started. Stevie Turner is with Evolve. In terms of the current wrestler status scale, I would say somewhat of a mid-carder. She has like the on-screen management role in Evolve as the prime minister of Evolve. But potential on main roster, I would say she's probably like jobber or mid-carder at best, in my opinion, at this moment in time, if she were to make it there. She's had several gold prism sales between 41 and $100. As you can see, most recently, her cards have gone up in value. You can see in August of 2024, a gold prism sold for $100, while in September 2024, sold for $87. So again, mostly the same price, I would say. And you could maybe even say that those would go up a little bit more as a result of the bump in interest in WWE cards within the last year. Next up, we have card number 67, Ava Valkyrie or Eva or Lyra Valkyria. Where are they now? She's on WWE Raw on a weekly basis. Right now, she's definitely an upper mid carder with, I would say, main eventer potential. Um, some might say that whoever bought her Black Prizm One of One rookie from the 2022 set for $1,850 back in May of 2024 might have gotten a really good deal. Maybe you might have gotten a really good deal for it. In addition to that, she's had two sales for the gold out of 10. That's a major jump, as you can see. In November 2022, somebody paid $51 for the gold out of 10. And flash forward to June 2025, $500. So that's going to be one of the larger jumps, as you will see on here, for the sales of the women wrestlers who were rookies back in the 2022 Prism set. Now, let's move on to JC Jane. JC Jane is still in NXT, but JC Jane has actually seen a little bit of success quite recently. I would say current wrestler status, still a little bit of a mid-carder. And I say mid-carder because like she's still on NXT, but she has actually just won the NXT Women's Championship. So I would say in terms of potential, she's looking at upper mid-carder status, I would say. She's someone who definitely has potential down the line. Someone bought her Black Prizm One of One rookie for $1,170, $1,170 back in November 2024. I think that potentially could be a good deal down the line. We'll see if that pans out, if she makes it to the main roster and has a good run. But her gold out of 10, she's had three sales between $80 and $156. $156, that would be in January of 2023 in a PSA 9. One thing we'll learn is that it's kind of hard to get 10s in the 2022 Prism at times. Um, so $156. Again, I would bet if that were to be sold recently, one of those cards, I think you'd be looking at several $100 more than the 156 that it sold in January 2023. Now we have Wendy Chu. Wendy Chu, somebody who has been with NXT for quite a bit of time. She's kind of on the jobber scale of things. If she were to make it to the main roster, I would say she'd still be somewhat of a jobber on that scale. In terms of her cards, though, her cards have sold pretty well. A gold shimmer out of three in April of 2023 and a PSA 10 sold for $750. Again, that's not jobber status right there. That's a pretty good amount for somebody who has not necessarily had a lot of success on the NXT brand. If we flash and take a look at her gold out of tens, you can see they've sold for between 148 and $425 with a in $425 for the PSA 10 version of it in August of 2022. So her cards sell pretty well overall. So she does clearly have a fan base, even though it seems as though every single card is of her looking like she's ready for bed, to go fall asleep. Now we have Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton is without question the biggest star from the 2022 women's rookie class from Prizm. Where are they right now? She is absolutely at the top of the SmackDown women's division, and she's already a main eventer within just a few years. You could see over here a Black Prizm one of one of hers, her probably her very best card in an SGC 9. Someone got that grade in SGC. That card sold for $1,725 back in July of 2022. I would presume, now this is just my opinion, I would presume that if this were to be sold today, you are looking at five figures. I would not be shocked if that would go for 25, 30, or even 30,000 or more right now. So whoever bought that back in July of 2022, you were clearly taking a little bit of a risk then, since she was rather new to the NXT product. But that is proving to be one of the best card investments in recent memory for WWE. Her gold out of 10, those cards have sold extremely, extremely well. You can see from the very, very start, gold out of 10 in August of 2022, going for $706 right off the bat. And you can see that some have reached as high as $5,000. In January 2025, someone paid $5,000 for the gold out of 10. So if the gold out of 10 is selling for $5,000 in January, Tiffany Stratton has won a main event women's match at WrestleMania 41 against Charlotte Flair, and she is still holding that belt strong. So again, 25 to $30,000 for the Black Prizm one of one in her rookie card is not crazy to think that. Now we have Lash Legend. Lash Legend is still in NXT. She's somebody who I think has mid-Carter status on her. I think she's somebody who could definitely challenge for some belts, like maybe the Intercontinental or US Championship down the line, maybe winning tag titles on the main roster. She's somebody who has not had a lot of sales on eBay. Her most recent and only sale that I could find in a gold out of 10, going for $171.50 in December 2023. Now, we have Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile has been on Raw for quite a bit of time. She's definitely in the mid-Carter role, and I think she's somebody who down the line could potentially be an upper mid-Carter. She's in a good group with American Made, with Chad Gable as the leader of it. So she's always been featured on TV in the last year plus. Definitely upper mid Carter. I could see her winning the US title or the Intercontinental title down the line and then hold it for a good run, I would say. Her gold cards, she's only had two gold card sales. You can see $173 back in May of 2022, May of 2023, but her highest being $180 in June of 2022. That's a typo on my end. But you could see her cards sell pretty well. She's definitely had some Black Prisms and other sets go for a lot more than this. And let's now take a look. What are some of our takeaways from this? Some of our takeaways. Of the 16 women that we have looked at, nine of them have been released. So again, if you are somebody who is big in prospecting, you have to understand that just like in any other sport, like baseball, basketball, football, hockey, not every single rookie is going to be successful. Four are still in NXT and in Evolve. Three are on the main roster. Three of them, you're seeing on the main roster of Raw and SmackDown on a weekly basis with Ivy Nile, Tiffany Stratton, and Lyra Valkyria. It's pretty evident to me that Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria are the clear winners here, especially since they have held gold. They've been in, WrestleMania matches. And it is pretty clear to me that the gold out of 10 and the black one of ones will always have value, even if you are a wrestler who is released Wrestlers obviously still have the ability to work in other wrestling associations. They have the ability to work on the independent scene, and they're always going to have a fan base. And in my opinion, one of the big things that's going to happen in the future is that wrestling collectors are going to see the Prism set and they're not going to necessarily care which wrestler it is. They're going to say, oh, it's a gold out of 10. Oh, it's a black one of one. I want that because I want to eventually build up the best possible set that you can create out of the golds and the blacks. So I think that's going to be a trend that we're going to see. We haven't seen it exactly yet, but that is going to be my prediction. Now, before we continue, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe to the One of One channel. Please like it. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of this, do you want to see me do one of looking at the men's rookies from 2022 Prisms or a different year? You let me know. Do you think that the gold out of 10 and the Black Prism one of ones will keep rising no matter what the wrestler is, no matter what they've done? You let me know in the comments section below. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and keep watching this channel.